Hey, welcome back to the Big Red Zone. We are very excited for today's show. Remember, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to the channel. We hit the 100 subscribers. Cue the applause. So here's to the next 200. We got to get to the next 200. We're going to have a little change coming up, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but new episodes will come out next Tuesday and probably Tuesday from then on out. A little slight change. This week, we're going to talk about the Celtics, big wins over the last week. We're going to talk about our predictions. We have a month left of the season. We're going to talk about the NBA award predictions. Then we're going to get into that atrocious fight by our good friend of the pod, Mr. Paul. And then we'll talk Red Sox. Big Red made his return. All that and more in this week's episode of the Big Red Zone. Welcome to the podcast. This is the Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. As always, I'm joined by Danny Football.
We're on the come up, Big Red. All the Boston sports are turning it around.
It's a good day, great week to be Boston sports, and we get the NFL draft next week. So big things happening. Will we get our quarterback of the future?
When we land Justin Fields, we'll be even higher up.
I'll feel so good next week when we get Justin Fields. We'll do a draft next week. We'll talk about the draft, but for this week, before we start, Patriots Day, man. A great tradition. I mean, it would have been nice for the Boston Marathon.
Yeah, I think it kind of sucks without the marathon.
I think they said it was supposed to be the 125th Boston Marathon, but I think people were running. I saw like people doing the virtual marathon, and we still had our Red Sox today show up.
Still had that matinee, that early morning game, Red Sox game, so it still counts. And then, marathon in October, then we'll be back on track next year. We'll be ready to go.
That's right. So, and it was a nice little Monday. Nice little Monday for you.
Beautiful Monday morning.
Did you get a nice little day off there, Danny Football?
I did not. I had to work, but I did listen to the Red Sox game on the radio.
Gosh, darn it. Danny Football, congrats. Also, all the fans will say congrats on a new job.
We did it. We're getting out of prison. We're doing it.
We're getting into the not the club, the ring.
We're going full time with the boxing gig, baby. So no more being chained to a desk. I'm free. I'm flapping my wings.
You're ripping off that tie and putting some gloves on. I love it.
No more suits. I'm not a suit anymore. We're done. We're done. I'm a working man now.
He's like the Hulk. He's like the Hulk. He's like coming out of his suit.
Busting out of my clothes. All I have are jean shorts on.
Yeah, some jorts. That's what you're gonna see Danny Football in for the rest of the year.
Jorts. Shirtless and jorts.
I love it. So on that note, I think that seems like a great way to transition to our first topic. We're going to talk some Celtics tonight. Danny Football, are we officially back on the Celtics train?
It's looking pretty good so far.
Is the train back on the rails?
It's definitely back on the rails. The real question is, can we keep this momentum going? Let me see how they're doing right now, because I know they were in the final seconds of the game against the Bulls. We're down 2 right now. Oh, no.
Down 2, 16 seconds left.
We're down 2 with 16 and a half. All right, so as of right now, we're on a 6-game winning streak. That could change right now, but
in 15 seconds.
6-game winning streak, 10-3 since the trade deadline. We're finding ways to win games. This game, we're kind of short today. We got the hospital Celtics out there, but I'm liking what they've been doing so far. We're going to see if we can pull this out, but regardless, I'm liking where we're at.
I agree. Like you said, we're on that 6-game winning streak, and you've beaten some pretty good teams in that 6 games. That was a great game against Golden State. That was an unbelievable game, and they were down in that game.
Big. They were down big. They were struggling in that first quarter, man.
That was a tough game for the Celtics in that first quarter, but they came back at the end of the second. And put together some nice minutes in the third as well to get it back to striking distance. They beat a Lakers team that was kind of beat up, but still, you beat the Lakers.
We're beat up, good. So, goes both ways.
You won a tight one against the Blazers. Blew out the Nuggets, which was huge. And, like I said, I was at the Garden for that last one against the Timberwolves. So, they were on a nice little streak. They're down 4 now. They must have hit free throws. I
Sorry, we don't
the
have
game.
Kemba or Time Lord. We're short tonight.
Yeah, and
We're smart,
everyone's
and we don't have
forgetting, and everyone's forgetting Fournier.
That dude's just never gonna play, man. He has like permanent COVID.
He should be back soon. Who was playing? Was Brad playing in this game?
Romeo's in the Romeo's
was
on
he
the
in the
court right
start?
now.
Oh my God! They went to the well. Everyone played today.
Everyone's getting minutes.
Tristan Thompson played 33 minutes. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum both are playing 37 right now. Peyton Pritchard playing 31. Semi's up to close to 19. Grant's at 22 in the 20s. Romeo's in the 20s. Jabari Parker, which we'll get to in a second, he's in 16 minutes. Cornet got 10. Tremont Waters checked into the game. He got 9 points. What the heck? And
it's the hospital Celtics, man. Tatum's gonna go to the line here trying to hit 2, but
yeah, what are you gonna do, man? Like you're missing Time Lord, Marcus Smart, Kemba, Fournier. You're missing 1, 2, 3, 4 people that normally play a lot of minutes. So what are you gonna do, man? It is.
Can't
win
them all, but you gotta keep these positive vibes going. So
yeah, coming down the stretch, we got to start winning more than we lose. But you win 6 and you drop a game, like you just got to win the next one. So, the big one we mentioned before, Celtics signed Jabari Parker. Day Football, honest reaction, because this happened after the podcast came out. What was your first general reaction to the signing of Jabari Parker?
I've always liked Jabari Parker. I liked him coming out of Duke. His problem is that he's always been hurt. He, tears both knees. There's not much you can really do about it. It's kind of been floating around since then. I'm not saying I need pre-knee injuries, Jabari Parker, but if I can get something, 60, 70%, I mean, he eats minutes. He can score the ball, so that's all I really need. As long as he can stay healthy, that's all I really want, and, just contribute. He had a rough start, had a couple turnovers as soon as he hit the court, but comes with time. It's a new team, so hopefully he can contribute.
He hasn't really played that, he obviously hasn't played much in the last year. My general reaction is I didn't get why everyone was so negative. I get he has
it's a buyout player. There's nothing really to be negative about.
Right. It's
you didn't give up anything for him. You got rid of Mo Wagner, who Mo Wagner didn't do shit. So
yeah,
it is what it is.
You got him for 2 years. That was big. Like, you have him for next year too. You can always release him if you don't like him. If he gets hurt, you sign another buyout guy. Like, I don't get I feel like it was all reward, low risk. You know what I mean? I reward, low risk player. And he's a stud. Like, if he stays healthy, he's a stud. I don't. There's a lot of people angry about it, and I don't get angry. Doesn't make sense to me.
No, no point in being angry about it. He's definitely a guy who can add something to this team, and we need scoring off the bench, and he can score off the bench. The only question is, will he be able to stay healthy?
Right, and if he doesn't stay healthy, what do? You just, you
move
try
on.
To find another.
There's plenty of other people that could do the same thing.
Right. I was kind of hoping they would sign, and this is totally a green teamer mentality. Also, we would probably fill that void. Is Isaiah. Like, I think it would have been nice to bring Isaiah Thomas back.
He's out there, dude. We've allegedly have interest in him.
Well, they said to get a roster spot, they had to release Mo Wagner. I think they have one roster spot available, but apparently not.
I'm not sure, dude. I don't know. What are they going to the replay here for? I have no. We're down 4 with 2.5 seconds left, so this is probably over. But that's
why are we going to replay at that point? I don't get why we're going to replay at that point. I thought Jason Tatum was at the line shooting too. Missed both free throws.
They're reviewing the foul. No, what are they doing here? Oh, they're reviewing the out of bounds play. No, that was a while ago when he shot the free throws. Tice is freaking out.
This. Oh, Tice, first game, huh? Against the boys.
Return to the Garden. I wonder if you got a video tribute.
I think not. I don't think he was here that long. Look, you know who's also returned today? Our man Green. Did he check into the game? No.
Javonte Green?
Yeah. He didn't play.
I just turned the game on, so I have no idea. Maybe.
He has no minutes. He didn't play. Um, yeah. So, anyways, sorry, got distracted. But I feel good. I like Jabari Parker. I think he's going to help down the stretch. Maybe you get Isaiah Thomas if you can find that roster spot. I don't think it's really necessary at this point because you have your guys. The bench is going to start tightening up as we get down to it, and you're probably only going to when 48 comes back, and you got Smart back, and you got Kemba back, and you got Time Lord back. Like all these guys are going to start not playing. Like Draymond's not going to see the floor. Naismith's probably not going to see the floor. Cornet's going to see the floor. Romeo probably isn't. Brad loves Grant and Semi, so they'll probably find their way on the floor. But he's going to tighten it up to like a 8-man rotation. So we'll have to see where he fits in that. But I like the signing, and he had a great first night with the Celtics.
I know we've mentioned it before, but it's just really important that they stay close to that 4 seed. I know they're at the 5 right now, but it's really important they stay close to that 4 seed.
Oh, absolutely. They gotta get that 4 seed. I think that's the win for you. Like you can feel good about going into the playoffs with the 4 seed. I think you can feel good about it. You got, you're gonna get that. You're gonna get probably Atlanta, the Knicks, the Heat. I think it's going to be one of those 3 teams at the 5. And I'd rather play that series at home.
Yeah, I don't want any part of that play-in tournament stuff and how it shifts around. That's below us, man.
Yeah, I don't like it either. So, but hey, if we have to do it, we got to do what we got to do. But I think the 4 seed is what you want to get into. Moving on. So feeling good, Danny Football. Before we go, is this a championship caliber team, you think?
If everyone's healthy and can stay off the injury report, yes. But for some reason, we seem to always have at least one high valued person on the injury report. So
I think that's partially Brad like learning his lesson and not trying to win the regular season. Like how many years in a row did the Celtics win the regular season? And there was a couple where they were 1 or 2 seed. And then they got bounced in the second round. I think Brad wants to keep people healthy. Kemba's not playing back-to-back nights, and they're probably going to continue that for the rest of the year. Jalen, when he gets, he had the little knee problem or whatever, so he's like they're being careful with him. I hope they're a little more careful with Jason because they're using and abusing him. And Fournier's had COVID for about a month. Tristan Thompson had COVID for a month. I think they're being extra careful, especially Time Lord too, who's injury prone.
Yeah, he's gonna have to figure this out too.
They're extra careful with these guys, and they have some depth that's not great depth, but they're probably gonna try to, we'll rest Kemba for tonight. All right, Jalen, you're playing. We're gonna rest Jalen tonight. All right, Kemba, you're back in. You know what I mean? I think they're gonna try to
kind of mix and match your parts. Yeah.
And try to get, figure out the rotation going into the playoffs because it's definitely a playoff team. We just got to secure that 4 seed. Moving on to our next segment. It's a fan favorite. We're going to do our picks of the week. Picks of the week. Picks of the week, Danny Football, for the first time, I guess we both picked the champion of the NCAA, but the first time for a while, we both got it right, picking different games.
Back on my NBA, baby. This is what I needed. I needed the pro games to pick, not the college games. We're back on track.
So I'm a game back still. I'm back to 500. So Danny Football, who are you going with to try to keep this winning streak alive?
I'm going to go with a tough one. I'm going to go with my Suns over the 76ers. It's going to be a matchup of the 1 in the East, 2 in the West. And I said it before the season started. I believed in these Suns. I thought they could make some noise, and now they're a game and a half back of the 1 seed in the West, and I think they're going to roll. I think they can take down Embiid and the Sixers. I think this is going to be a good game, though.
I like that pick, too. I think they have a good chance to beat them. I don't like the 76ers either. But I think they have a good shot to beat them. I'm going with the train that I told you they're hot. They're hot, Danny Football, and it pains me to say it, but the New York Knicks are hot. led by a stud that gets no respect in the league, Julius Randle. People are starting to come around. I'm going Knicks over Hawks. So that's a big game. They're both like they're with the Celtics. They're all in that middle hunt looking for that 4 seed. Big conference game. I think the Knicks pull it out. They're
a half a game back of us. That might change now.
Yeah, I don't know how. It depends on how the games shake out for the rest of the night. But the Knicks are home again for that game. So, Madison Square Garden, I think they get the W there. So, Danny Football has the Suns. I'm going to take the Knicks. Staying with the NBA theme with our other segment, we did it last week with the MLB with our early predictions. We usually like to do it in the mid-season. We didn't do it for some reason, and I think we just lost track of time. Danny Football, time flies. We didn't do it at the All-Star break, but we're doing it with a month left. We're gonna make our predictions to see who's gonna win going down the stretch. The NBA awards. So, Danny Football, we'll work our way to the MVP, I guess. Let's do 6th man of the year. Who do you got for winning 6th man of the year?
I'm going to go with Joe Ingles. He's been killing it this year. He's on the number 1 seed in the West. Surprising Jazz team, hungry Jazz team after last year's playoffs. And he's just been nails. He's going to be competing with his teammate Jordan Clarkson for this, but I think he can pull it out. I'm going to go Joe Ingles.
See, I'm going with the other guy on the other side you mentioned, Jordan Clarkson, another LA Laker who got no respect, who hasn't really got a lot of respect in the league. Averaging 17 points off the bench. I mean, he's just playing out of his mind. He is averaging over 2 assists, 4 rebounds on the button, and a little under a steal a game. But the 17 points off the bench, that's huge. Number 1 team, as you said, in the West, right? They're still the number 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think he's playing out of his mind. That was a huge get by Utah last year. So I'm going Jordan Clarkson for your 6th man of the year. Let's move on to most improved. Do you want me to go for that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going with the guy I mentioned earlier. He's single-handedly, well, I shouldn't say single-handedly, but he's pretty much taken this team on his back in New York. I'm going Julius Randle. Julius Randle is playing out of his mind. He was an all-star this year. He's, like I said, we mentioned earlier, he's got his team with a chance to have a bye. Who would have thought we would have said the Knicks would have a bye this year?
It would not have been me. Would not have been me.
No, I would beg to differ if you told me that. I liked him back when he played in LA, but he's averaging 23 points a game. He's averaging 10 rebounds a game. He's averaging a double-double, 6 assists, 1 steal, and not a really big block total, but averaging a double-double, 23 and 10. It's up from 19 and 9 last year and doubled his assists. It's unbelievable how much this kid has put this team on his back. I was begging back in like 2017, 2018 for the Celtics to make a move for this guy because he was kind of underrated. He was still averaging 20 points a game, but people, for some reason, 16 points a game on the Lakers, but for some reason they didn't like him. They didn't play him, and they traded him to New Orleans. He must have been he was part of the
Davis trade, yeah.
They must have been part of the Davis trade, but man, that kid is unbelievable, and he's taking that team on his back. So I'm going Julius Randle.
I'm going to go with Christian Wood from the Rockets. I mean, he's just made a complete name for himself this year. Kind of bet on himself, goes down to Houston, and I mean, his value is at an all-time high. People were talking about if Houston maybe try to move him to try to get even more value for him, but Christian Wood has absolutely put his stock through the roof, and I think he's going to be there, right there, neck and neck with Julius Randle.
I agree. I love Christian Wood too. God, like you said, he bet on himself. I think he was an undrafted guy, and Can't tell you how much I like that pick. So let's do. You want to do Coach of the Year?
Yeah, it pains me, but I'm gonna have to go with Doc. I mean, number one seed in the East, got fired from the Clippers, goes over to the Sixers to see if he can kind of get them back on track. And they're playing as good as anyone has ever played, man. And it all comes down to Doc. I mean, people thought he was dead in the water, and here he is. He's back in the hunt again.
I like it. But the guy I'm going with is Monte Williams. Guy comes to the Suns. Part of it is Chris Paul, but turns his team around. They were a dumpster fire, and now they're fighting for a number one seed. They're the number two right now. I think it's going to even out a little bit over this next month, but man, they've been playing. They played almost everything but a month left of the season, and they've won 40 games.
That run on the bubble did wonders for them, man.
Yeah, they got the ball rolling. But I just think, he's done a great job with this team. It turned around. We knew the 76ers were going to be good. I mean, Doc did kind of help them kind of put it together, I think, a little bit.
I think there's a huge difference between this and the Brown-led Sixers, man. I mean, this culture seems different.
I agree, because I think they buy in a little bit more to Doc because he's been there and
1,000%.
But he's kind of more established, I think. I know a lot of people hate on Doc, but I think he's more established in the league. 100%. I think, he made this team a 1 seed from probably like a 4 or 5 seed. Monte Williams took this team from being last to first. Like, that's not maybe last, but they made the bubble, so they had to be like within a couple games in the West. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
right, out of contention.
This team, they won every game in the bubble and didn't make the playoffs. That's how bad they were last year. Like, even when they got hot, they still didn't make the playoffs. So I got to go Monte Williams. I think he's doing a great job, and I hope the Suns can continue that stretch, because I like seeing teams that haven't won in a while do well. What do you get? Rookie of the Year?
Rookie of the Year is Anthony Edwards. I mean,
I think
LaMelo had a really good, LaMelo had a really good chance at it, but then he got hurt, so there's not really much you can do. It's kind of like Zion going on the run he did, but you missed a good chunk of the season, so I'm gonna have to go with Anthony Edwards.
Right. I think if LaMelo didn't get hurt, I think he would have given him a run for his money. But Anthony Edwards, I take it from someone that has him on his fantasy team. He's just playing out of his mind. The kid in we were talking about it. The kid in Sacramento. What was it? What was his name? I forget.
I wish I could tell you.
It's like Tyrese Halliburton, I think it was Halliburton played from Iowa. The kid out of Iowa State, I think it's Halliburton. He has a shot now that LaMelo's out of it. He won. Don't forget, in January and February, he was the Western Conference Rookie of the Month. So, I mean, I think he's kind of cooled off. Either he's cooled off a little bit, or Anthony Edwards is just like turning on completely. Like Anthony Edwards is averaging over 20, and Tyrese is averaging like 13 or so. So I think it's going to be Anthony Edwards, but Tyrese could make a little run for it. I think there's a case that can be made for him as well. Defensive Player of the Year. Who you got?
I'm going to have to go with the default Rudy Gobert. I mean, he's just...
I hate it.
He's Mr. Defense. I have to give it to him. I mean, I know he won it last year, and then the whole debacle with COVID, he kind of gets a bad rap, but, I mean, the dude's just nails on defense. He
didn't win it last year.
Did he not?
No, it was I thought it was Giannis. Giannis won it last year. Look that up. Fact check me, Danny Football. I'm pretty sure it was Giannis. Because I think I was like, I said it on the show. I was like, there's no way they're going to give it to
2019. You're right.
He won back to back, but
2018, 2019. Yeah, you're right.
Last year, Giannis won it and the MVP. He's like a double. My guy I'm going with is just to be different because it's boring if we agree on every single one. I think Rudy Gobert is going to win it, but the guy that's like a kind of an like a low key pick is Ben Simmons. I mean, the kid is unbelievable. He's averaging 1.6 steals a game, zero point 0.6 blocks, and 6 rebounds as a point guard. Uh, I think it's going to be Rudy Gobert. There's no one that kind of, you could say Giannis. Giannis is always in that equation. Miles Turner got hurt, so I think that's going to hurt him. He was kind of up there in the odds favorites and stuff like that. But I have to say that the guy that you think, if there's going to be someone that's going to make a run at him, it's probably going to be Ben Simmons or Giannis. So I like Ben Simmons, but I think that's a good pick, Danny Football.
Who do you got for MVP?
What about six man? Did we skip six man?
Yeah, we already did six
Yeah, we did skip man. MVP. I got, now before the season, I said I liked Luka, and I think Luka's playing great. He had that game winner the other day. That crazy, like, underhand, crazy, stupid shot. But the guy I think should win it, and he's playing unbelievable, is the Joker, Nikola Jokic.
Ooh, okay.
I like this pick. He's averaging 26 and 11 with 8 assists. He's a little bit shy of a triple-double. And he's always getting a little closer to the triple-double. And this is the closest he's been. He's 0.2 assists away from getting a triple-double. I hope he can get it. He's also averaging 1.5 steals a game. But the guy's doing this as a big man. He's averaging 8.8 assists a game as a center. That's unbelievable. And now with Jamal Murray out with his ACL injury, I mean, this guy has to be carrying this team through the playoffs and the rest of the season, and probably most of next season as well. Stats, importance of the team, because I think that's something that gets lost in the MVP race. Is I'm a guy that looks at it and says most valuable player. It's who's most valuable to the team. It's not who has the best team. It may be like if we're going to say who's the most valuable player and it's the best player in the league, then LeBron's probably going to win it every year. You know what I mean? I'd say who's the most valuable player. If you took this guy off the team, where would they be? And I think if you take him off the Nuggets, I think they're a dumpster fire. So I got to go Joker. I think he's stats, importance, playoff. He's the 4 seed right now, which, it could vary. So I got to go Joker.
Yeah, this is going to be hard for me, man, but I have to go with Joel Embiid. I mean, he's been a monster all season. He's stayed healthy, and he's been on an absolute tear, getting these Sixers to the 1 seed. So I got to give it to him. He's been an absolute monster, man.
I completely agree. I think he's been playing out of his mind. Like, this is the best I've seen. I mean, I'm not going to say like I didn't see this. I couldn't see this version of him coming. He's averaging 30 points a game. That's unbelievable.
Unreal, dude. Unreal.
And like you said, he's leading the team. The important thing for him is staying healthy. I hope he can stay healthy down the stretch. Yeah, but for MVP purposes, I think you're right. I think he has a strong case to win the MVP. So that's our picks. I forget what it was before the season. I probably it was some shockers in there, but we'll have to see down the stretch. I mean, we'll revisit this and see if it changes in a month's time after the regular season's over. But I think these are great picks, Danny Football. I think you did a great job.
Solid picks. Solid picks.
Solid picks. So we're gonna move on. This is Danny Football's baby. This sport is called boxing.
This was not my baby. This was a catastrophe of a
the
fucking
sport,
fight
the sport
card.
of
The sport
of
is,
boxing.
but this was a absolute circus, man.
So let me set this up for you, Danny Football, because I'm going to let you just go because I know you have a lot to say about this. We saw Logan Paul, our good friend,
Jake Paul.
got a big Jake Paul, whatever, doesn't matter which one.
One of them.
They're both the same. One of the Pauls got a big win. I use that term lightly. The other day,
He got a victory.
He got a victory against. It looked like
Askren.
it looked like a chemistry teacher. It just totally. I think I saw someone. I think everyone at my men's league tonight was more in shape than this kid. And we haven't played in 2 years. So, Danny Football, first general reactions, and then what happened. I'm going to ask you what happens from here. So, what's your general reaction to his win?
All right, so this was a shit show in every essence of the phrase. This was an absolute fucking shit show. Jake Paul knocked out Ben Askren in under a minute in what would some call a boxing match. Ben Askren is a former MMA fighter, formerly undefeated, former world champion MMA fighter. And this dude came in the worst shape I have ever seen a former professional athlete ever enter a ring in. Jake Paul came out. I'll give Jake Paul credit. He looked crisp. He looked like he knew what he was doing. Ben Askren did not. And that's a huge problem considering one is a former MMA fighter and one is a YouTuber. So that fight sucked. The fights before this sucked. They had former MMA world champion Frank Mir fight retired boxer Steve Cunningham, and they did nothing for the entire fight. So that was boring as hell. And then the second fight before the Jake Paul Ben Askren main event was two actual boxers, and that fight ended with a phantom low blow in which one of the boxers, I can't remember their names, but the loser took what appeared to be a low blow, but was later confirmed to be a legal forearm to the hip, which does not do damage at all in the sport of boxing. And this dude fell down like he got shot in the stomach. He was writhing in pain, stamping his feet as if he had gotten shot in the stomach. He did not get touched down below the belt. He did not get touched in his kidneys. No sort of contact was made that would have made this man feel the way that he felt. This dude took a dive. This dude wanted out. He was getting his ass kicked, so he took the easy way out, and they took him out on a freaking backboard. They strapped him to a backboard and took him out of the ring. This dude is a joke, and I hope he never finds the boxing ring again. But on the whole, this entire card, for $50, which I certainly did not pay, but anyone who bought this card for $50, you're a fucking moron, and you're part of the problem.
You should message the Paul family and try to get your money back. I mean, they can donate to the cause.
They don't. I mean, I didn't pay for it, so I have no ill will towards them. If people bought this, that's $50 out of your pocket, not mine.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really care about anyone else on the card, but looking at it, I didn't really care about.
It was bad. It was so bad.
I didn't care about that one, but a couple things from my perspective, and I'm not a very big boxing fan. You're more the boxing guy between the two of us.
This was closer to wrestling than it was boxing.
I think the one thing I agree with you is I think Paul showed up in shape, man. He looked.
Paul did everything right. Paul was in shape. Paul trained. Paul knew what he was doing.
That's one thing I give him credit for. He actually trains. He got
right.
That's the trainer.
And that's not what I knock him for. What I knock him for is that he's doing this against absolute bums. Like, these are tomato cans.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. Going forward, he's picking like Nate Robinson to beat up on for a round. All these guys that.
But that's the thing really is that if he wants to, he can literally do this forever. He can keep finding washed up athletes and washed up celebrities, and he can literally do this forever.
But he said he wants to be he wants to win and be a champion or whatever, right?
Then I shudder to think what will happen when he's in there with an actual boxer.
When are we going to see that?
I wouldn't. Couple years. I would be shocked if he did it anytime soon. His stock is so high. Why would he ever do it? Why would he ever do it to ruin his reputation? Everyone thinks. I mean, all of his fans think he's this world-beating boxer. I mean, if I were him, I'd be beating the shit out of Nate Robinson's until the day I die.
Yeah. When is
Maybe eventually he'll do it, but I wouldn't count on it anytime soon.
Isn't his brother fighting Floyd?
Logan Paul fighting Floyd Mayweather.
Wait? Who did Floyd Mayweather say he's gonna fight? Didn't he say someone crazy he was gonna fight?
I have no idea.
He was coming out. Didn't we talk about this like when all the
Mayweather.
like Logan Paul and Jake Paul stuff was coming out? Or was that a fake? Was that a joke?
I really wish I knew, but I don't know.
Oh my God. What was it? We talked about it on the show. I'm not a big boxing guy, Danny Football. You got to know this stuff.
I don't pay attention to retired guys, man. If you say you're done, you're out of my mind. I don't know who he's supposed to be fighting.
Did you lose me?
No, I hear you.
Okay. Yeah, it says he's going to fight Logan Paul.
What is this?
I don't know, but they agreed. Yeah, they said that I knew it was one of the Pauls. He's fighting. They just set it up. February 20th, 2021. Is that true? That already passed. That must be full of crap. Why did that? Oh man, this is like crazy. Maybe I got fooled.
Dude, I mean, if it's not actual boxing, I'm not there. And if Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul were fighting in my backyard, I wouldn't stick around to watch it. So I'll leave it at that. I have no interest in watching any of these guys do anything.
They said it's not happening.
That doesn't shock me.
It was originally booked, but somehow it got postponed. That's what they said. Oh, there's a bunch of clips that came up. I got to watch these after the pod. Don't kill us in the comments for this, because I really thought I saw that and I wasn't sure. I remember hearing something. Not a big boxing guy, so when I hear something that just kind of sticks out to me, I hold on to it. I thought it was real, but I wasn't sure. It got postponed. It says. If you could predict who Jake Paul is going to fight next, who do you think he's going to get? Or who do you have someone you'd?
I'd like to see him fight any of the freaking guys that I follow a good amount of guys. I'd say if he wants to fight like, let's say Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders is a fun British boxer. I'd like to see that happen. So might as well have it be Billy Joe.
Why don't you call him out right now on the pod? We'll tag him and everything.
I'll fight Jake Paul. I mean, I'll get a bunch of money for it, and if I lose, I lose. So might as well do it. Win-win for me.
I mean, everyone he's fought has taken a dive, so you might as well take a dive and collect your money.
For the money Ben Askren got, I'll take a dive 6 times a week. Let's go.
No, Danny Football, you're gonna knock him out. You're gonna knock him out. One that knocks him out. Challenge him right now. We're gonna tag him in it. We're gonna say, This is a formal challenge from the one and only Danny Football. And I don't know if you
dude. I've seen small takes. Freaking call him out. I don't want to jump on this bandwagon. There are too many people. There are too many people calling for this kid's head. I'll get in line.
Get in line. Go after Logan. He only fought.
Go after Logan Paul. Yeah.
He's only fought twice. He already was trying to get Floyd Mayweather.
That would have been a big step up.
That would have been nuts. I mean, I guess he can do it because he's 1-1. So I guess he could. Jake Paul hasn't lost yet, right?
No.
He's undefeated. So
yes, he is.
So I guess you're right. He should try to keep that streak going. All right. So we're gonna move off this subject. This travesty to the sport. What's happening to your sport, Danny Football?
It's not good, dude.
It's dying right now.
This is dying a death. Yeah.
This is like when Rocky retired and they had Tommy Gunn fight Union
Tommy
Kane.
fucking Gunn.
Tommy Gunn fought
Have you
Union
ever,
Kane.
dude? Tommy, the boxer who
Tommy
played
Morrison.
that dude lived a life, dude.
Yeah.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
he had a tough go at the end there. Yeah, that was a sad story. I heard
You
that.
want to talk about a guy who could have saved boxing? Shit.
He was unbelievable. That guy.
Sad.
Um, yeah, I mean it's tough when you leave Rocky behind. It's like, what do you want? Like he turned his back on Rocky, but the greatest fighter to ever live. That was a true story, wasn't it?
Can only expect the worst.
By the way, side point. This is just distracting. I saw today, Rocky's not going to be in Creed 3. I'm a little insulted. I'm not gonna lie. I get it. I get you got to move the story along.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can only cart him out so many times before it gets repetitive. So I can't blame him.
I mean, you've done it.
It has to be.
It's
It's got to be Creed's own thing at a certain point.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess they kind of did that at the end of Creed 2. But man, I love seeing Sylvester Stallone go out there, sit in a chair, and give a couple of Rocky lines. I love it. I hope there's more. I'd like to see more of it. But I hope they don't kill him off. They can't kill off his character.
No.
They can't do that. All right. Now we're moving on. We're moving on to the subject. The hottest team in Boston right now, the Boston Red Sox. Sox are hot. They cooled off a little bit. Danny Football, they lost a couple games. They lost one to the Twins, I think, and then they lost the doubleheader. They got swept in the doubleheader, but I still feel good about this team. We were talking about it before. The doubleheader, I think, hurts.
You were there,
Boston.
dude. Why don't you break it down? Break down the return and break down the game. Let's hear
First of all, unbelievable feeling to be back in Fenway. Danny Football will get to it in a second, but he's making his return shortly. I got a little excited. I'm not going to lie. I got a little excited. I went to the concession stand, splurged a little bit. I went up there. I dropped the missus off at the seats. I said, "Hey, I gotta go see a man about a horse, and then I gotta go get some food." So I did my thing, and then I went in line. I got a couple got 3 hot dogs in my system. It's been a while. I was making up.
It's been a while. I gotta make up for lost time.
And then I got a little chicken tender special there with some fries, which was unbelievable. Got a little Desante, a little bottle of water. Got the missus some liquid courage, and then called it a little adult beverage, and it was a nice time. It was great. Same thing with it reminded me a lot of the Garden. I forget whatever they call it now, Jersey Street, Yawkey Way, whatever they call it now, was empty. It was a ghost town. Like usually, when you go to Fenway, there's people like on top of each other in Jersey Street. There's vendors up and down the street. Louis Tiant's place is there. But we walked right in. I mean, you have to go in through your own gate, so that kind of helps with it. Lansdowne looked packed though. That street looked mobbed. But for some reason, Jersey Street was empty, and that was a little sad. And, seating wise, no one's around us. Our row was empty. We got seats right behind home plate.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys had nice seats.
Yeah, it was awesome to see the game there. And I got to see some of my Pawtucket boys. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Some of the I was talking to Mrs. Big Red about this, and I was like, last time I saw some of these guys, it was in Pawtucket. One of the trainers is actually the old Pawtucket head trainer is now working on the staff in Boston.
Look at that.
My old boss, who led was in charge of the clubhouse in Pawtucket's now in Boston. He's like on the clubhouse staff. Tanner Houck, starter for that day. Bobby D had a good day, 2 for 3 that day, in game 1 anyway. Who else was there? Darrenson didn't pitch, but Darrenson, Josh Taylor, who pitched, Pawtucket guys. It was kind of a cool experience to see those guys play. And the last time I saw them, it was in the Pawtucket Red Sox clubhouse. It was kind of cool to see those guys play. But yeah, awesome experience being in. I can't wait for you to go. You deserve it. And you got to tell me how it is, because it's like it is weird sitting by yourself, but it's still the same electric factor. Like, still gets loud in big situations.
I'm looking forward to it, dude. I mean, this team's on a roll right now. They had that 9-game winning streak. It got snapped. 11-6, still first place in the AL East by 2.5 games. And, you know, big win today on Patriots Day. You love to see that. Split with the White Sox, and, you know, heading into a little 2-game stand with the Blue Jays, and then we're on to the Mariners. And what do you think, you know, having been in the ballpark, seeing the boys play, what are you thinking that's gone on so far?
I'll tell you what, I think Tanner Houck kind of got screwed in the couple of games. He's 0-2 right now. But in those 2 games, like, first of all, we didn't score enough runs for him. Like today, we scored probably like 20 runs today. Like, we score like some days we score 20, and then the other
We had
days
6 in the first inning.
Yeah, like Tanner Houck is probably sitting there like, dude, can you get me a couple?
Right.
Like, I'll take like 2 of those. But
Well, to be fair, they were 7-inning games, so who knows what could have happened those last 2 innings.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, it's a 2-pronged thing. One, he made in those 3 runs, he made 1 mistake pitch on the home run to start. Like, he fed a fastball right up the pike, and the guy jumped all over it the first pitch of the game. What are you gonna do? First mistake, 1 mistake pitch, and it's a home run, whatever. The other run was like manufactured. We could have got out of the inning. I think we messed up a double play, or like there was a bad throw, so that kind of got him off for 1. And then the third one, we brought in Taylor in with runners on. Like, we got a quick hook with him because it was a 7-inning game. And Taylor gave up the hit to have someone go in. He got a strikeout, but he gave up a hit to let him go in. So he got hosed. Plus, like you said, it's a 7-inning game. I think if we have more time, it's, we always say what if. But, if we have more time, who knows how that game happens. You've seen of late, like a lot of the times in some of these wins, the Red Sox are losing going into the 9th inning, and they tie it up. So, we couldn't get the ball out of the infield in that game, and I think that was a lot to do with it. It was like so many ground balls and double plays, but, you're going to have those days. The offense isn't going to score 20 runs a game.
You can't put up double-digit hits every game.
It just so happens that Tanner Houck is pitching when that happens.
Right. But, I mean, the bats have been hot, though. Hot to start. You need to keep that going. I'm not saying you need 15 hits every game, but you need to get the runs. And the bullpen rotation have been holding up so far, man. I know we have a couple, like you said, with Houck and Evaldi had not a great day, but an okay day today. As long as these guys can go innings and, keep us in the game, that's all that really matters. We don't really need to keep, zeros on the board.
Right. Like, I think, this team should be able to give up 3 to 4 runs a game. Like, I feel like you don't want to. You want to put up zeros. But I think you can survive with giving up 4 with this offense. You just got to get the offense going. Garrett Whitlock, huh?
Dude,
you don't say.
Absolute nails.
Isn't that embarrassing that we got him for nothing from the Yankees?
Yeah, Rule 5 draft. There you go.
That's pretty embarrassing. But looking at it, like Darwinson, he's not like he's pretty good. Like bullpen's playing pretty well. Like, I'm trying to pull it up. Like, Josh Taylor is a little bit struggling a little bit. I'm not going to lie. But he came in and I thought he was going to come in and shut the door on, he needed 2 outs, which was a tough situation. He got the strikeout, which was the hard one. And then he gave up a little dink hit and they got another run. Hold on. I'm trying to pull this up here. Go ahead, Danny Football. Go get him.
Go get him. Now, I mean, just to kind of break down the Patriots Day game. I mean, get off to a hot start. Kike leads off the game with a home run. And, Evaldi, ran into some trouble throughout the game, but he kept it pretty good. 10 strikeouts. Can't really ask for more than that. Bullpen comes in, shuts it down. You like to see them get the split. I know losing two of a doubleheader is pretty rough, but at the same time, you got to be able to bounce back, especially if the offense is struggling. It was good to see the offense, respond and get a pop. And, you got to keep this rolling. 9-game winning streaks are good, but it's how you respond after that loss. And between the comeback win and the series opener over the White Sox and then, bouncing back from the, losing 2 in the doubleheader, these guys are responding. Lose one, win the next one. That's all you got to do. And I
Yeah.
feel like last year that was a big thing. You lose a couple games last year, all of a sudden we're in the tank. Whereas this year, I think, it's okay if you go on like a little – you can lose a couple, but as long as you come back stronger and you win the next couple, that's all that really matters. As long as these guys keep that winning attitude, the sky's the limit.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is, the couple of surprises I really like is, we knew Matt Barnes kind of is figuring it out and he's having a great spring out of the pen. We mentioned Garrett Whitlock, but also Darwinson's is played pretty well through 7. He has a 1.5 ERA. Matt Andrews is playing pretty well. That's a nice addition. Felipe Valdez I saw him pitch on the game the other day, and he pitched pretty well. Like I said, Tanner Houck, and Perez, you'd obviously like to see Martin Perez. You'd like to see have a little bit better of a start. Garrett Richards wasn't terrible in his other stuff.
No, he's kind of put it back together. He's not lights out, but not as bad as that first start.
Yeah, it's kind of figured it out a little bit. And Pivetta is actually pretty good. He's better than I thought he was going to be.
Threw a lot of balls that other game, man. That was he got up there.
Yeah.
He got above 100. That was pretty good.
Yeah, so I think this team is going to be okay. Erod looks pretty good, especially coming off he didn't play all last year and he's
right.
He had that little bit of dead arm, so I feel pretty good. And this also, with this said, if we can stay healthy and go in and get Chris Sale mid-season, dude, I think this team has a real strong case to win, have a chance to win it all. I really do. And it's from top to bottom. I think they're pretty good. I think this team is really good.
I mean, dude, like I said, the sky's the limit. If they keep this up, there's no one. I mean, really, they can only stop themselves. Only they can be their worst enemy at this point. I mean, you look up and down the standings. The Rays are pretty good, but we've already, we swept them already. Orioles, we avenged that series. Blue Jays, we haven't seen yet, but we'll see them this week. And then the Yankees are, just garbage. It's a garbage fire down there, man. It's an absolute garbage fire. So the division's there, man. If you can keep this going, the division's definitely there. And, we win the division and get a wild card, anything. As long as we get in there and we're healthy, we can contend with anyone at this point. I really feel like this team wants to win. They're having fun, and that's a huge thing. And, dude, I'm really excited to finally go to Fenway and see what this team's got.
Yeah. Before we get to that, I just want to say, with that said, I think a lot of it has to do with the guy that's running the team, and that's Alex Cora. I think him back, you see everyone playing more loose. I feel, and not anything against Renicky. I think Renicky he got shafted coming into that job. We knew it was a tough year to come back and take the helm, but dude, you can't say that a lot of this success has to be connected to Alex Cora. Everyone seems like they're playing loose. They're having fun, like you said, and that's important with guys like Devers, who's young and still, people forget he's still developing as a player. And, for Dugo, who's young and developing, you got a lot of young guys on this team in the bullpen.
Even for the veterans, dude. I mean, JD's hitting the cover off the ball. I mean, Bogarts is having a good little start to the season too. So, I mean, it seems like the young guys and the veterans have been kind of getting a boost out of AC being back.
Yeah. So I think that's big. But let's get to something important. Danny Football is making his return to Fenway this Friday night.
Friday night Fenway, baby.
A Friday night Fenway game. Tell me about it. What's the what are you looking forward to the most? What's the game plan for
I mean, we got a Martin Perez start, 7-10 start, little night game. First time there in 3 years, about 3 years. It's going to be close to 3 years. Out in the bleachers, man. I've been a bleacher creature my entire life. It's going to be good to be back out there. And, Probably get in a little, hit the city a little early, see what's going on, look on Lansdowne and Jersey Street, maybe, get some liquid courage flowing myself, get in there and, limited capacity. That means, I can get as loud as I want. People will be able to hear it. So we'll see what we can muster here.
You have more responsibility to be louder. You have to make up for your whole row. Dude, it was so fun. Like some of the people yelling, like I feel like people, obviously I think players could hear you because especially in the beginning of the game when people are still filling in, like there's no way, like it was like just hearing people yell, it'd be like kind of quiet and then one person would just scream something and you could hear them across the ballpark. And that part's kind of funny. There was like, there was one of the pitchers at the end of the game, whoever closed the game for them, like threw like it looked funky coming out of his hands and he just let go, like swearing. And some guy got up and went, "Whoa, whoa!" It was screaming at him, like, "Watch your mouth" and stuff like that. And when he's swearing at him, like it was so funny. But it's like, I feel like
Boston's back, baby. Boston is back.
We're here, baby. It's fun. We get the fans back. We get football back. We're about to make a run at this thing in October, November. I can't wait. I like this. I'm very excited about this team. They're having fun. That's like the best part about it.
That's all I really want, man. As long as they're having fun and they're winning ball games, that's it.
So we're going to move on to our final segment of the night, the people's topic. It's the people's topic, baby! People's topic. So tonight, for the people's topic, we are going to just go with our one fan question from our fan favorite himself, Joseph _Celia. He writes, little Celtics question for us. How would you guys feel about the C's pursuing Draymond Green this offseason? Well, we know how Danny Football feels.
I mean, man, I don't think he's the game changer he once was. He's definitely kind of slowed down a little bit. He's still productive, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's the guy that he was a couple seasons ago. I wouldn't mind him on the team, but I wouldn't give up too much for him.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, is he a free agent this year?
I'm not sure.
I wouldn't trade much for him if he's a tradable piece. But I mean, he, like you said, he's not the player he was. He's a classic. Yeah, I wouldn't. He's still got a couple more years on his contract. He's gonna get paid in the like $20-something million next year. Yeah, he's just signed a new deal, so he's going into
he's part of the 2024 free agency class.
Yeah, I
wouldn't trade for him.
No,
he's got a wicked small price tag.
I still wouldn't do it. He's got a 3-year deal with a 4th-year player option. I think it makes no sense to trade for him. You're going to be spending upwards to between $24 to $27 million on this guy. I'd rather just go out and sign a free agent for that much, if you can, or try to look elsewhere. Not that I hate on Draymond Green. I just feel like he talks a lot of smack for someone that averages a triple single. Like, I think it's pretty single. It's pretty, like, I don't know. Like, I think he's definitely more valuable than people like give him credit for. You know what I mean? Like, people think he's like awful, and I'm not ready to say that.
No. But I mean, for that much money and that many years, I'm not very interested. But I mean, if Danny can somehow finagle something where it makes sense, I wouldn't say no. But looking at it the way it is, it's a no for me, dog.
And I mean, part of it is like the way you look at it. He brings veteran leadership. He brings intensity, and he brings championship experience. I get that. But for $23 million, I need someone averaging more than 6 points a game, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists. Right. Like, I can't. Right. That's like an off the bench kind of player, or my point guard. Even Rondo, when he was playing, he averaged 15 or whatever. So I'm not sold on it. I don't hate it, but it's not like I'm not saying like, man, we need to go after Draymond Green this
Right,
offseason.
right.
He's the missing ingredient to this whole thing. Now, if you're talking about trade people, maybe you go after, like I'm looking at teams. I'm trying to think of teams that are like trying to rebuild. Maybe you go after a guy like Cat if you're going to want to spend that much money, or you go after a guy like D'Lo on the Timberwolves are probably going to get ready to rebuild. Trying to think of another. I'll tell you right now. I guess maybe not. I was gonna say I'd give up a lot to get if they're willing to rebuild Steph Curry. I'd give up a lot.
He has 1 year left on his deal, dude. That's a possibility.
Like I don't know how much they're gonna like. They're kind of their window is up. Like the Clay getting hurt again kind of closed that window. So maybe they're looking to rebuild. Maybe they're looking to, try to get into the draft and get some of these top free agent guys. I don't know. But Steph's eating up a lot of cap space on that roster for good reason, I might add.
Right.
He's playing out of his mind. And if I'm the Golden State Warriors, I kind of want him being the guy to help me cross over into the next stage of this franchise just because he's still playing at such a high level. But I don't know. Like that's maybe you can try to figure something out for him. Give every draft pick you have and all of your young guys and add in a couple of the, I don't know who you had to add in, but you'd have to figure something out. I don't know if you make that deal, but Draymond Green, I'm not willing to pay $23 million for someone that's averaging a triple single. Like,
nah, not me, dude. Not me.
But great question, Joseph Celia, as always. And that's going to do it for this week. Remember, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the like button on this video as well as all our other videos. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your podcast, wherever you like your podcast. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcast and Danny Football. Tell a friend.
One friend. Please, one.
Friend.
Just that one.
My thanks to Danny Football for joining as always. Have fun at the game.
Go Sox, baby. Let's go.
Can't wait to hear about it. And have a great week, everyone.